Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. And today, we're going after a big one. It's probably the most common piece of career advice you've ever heard. And we're going to ask a pretty provocative question. What if it's just completely wrong?
Yeah, you've heard this one, right? It's from that legendary 2005 Stanford commencement speech by Steve Jobs. The crowd gave him a standing ovation. I mean, it felt profound. And ever since that speech, follow your passion has, exploded. It's the go-to advice for anyone trying to figure out their career. You see it on inspirational posters, you hear it from career gurus, it's just everywhere. It's become part of our cultural DNA. But what if it's actually terrible advice? Today, we're diving into this really radical idea from the book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. The argument is that this mantra isn't just a little bit unhelpful. It might be the very thing that's sabotaging your chance at building a career you truly love.
Okay, so to really get why this is such a big deal, we need to talk about a guy named Thomas. See, Thomas didn't just dabble with the idea of following his passion. No, he went all in. He basically dedicated his entire life to it.
So check this out. Thomas spends years studying philosophy and religion, completely convinced that Zen Buddhism is his one true calling. He's working odd jobs, but he's always daydreaming about becoming a monk. I mean, he's building it up in his head as the ultimate dream come true. And he does it. He gets into the Zen monastery. This is it, the peak. But then, a year later, it all comes crashing down. He has this big breakthrough, but the realization is devastating. Nothing's changed. He's still the same anxious guy. Getting everything he thought he wanted didn't fix a thing. Thomas's story is a perfect, if painful, example of the passion trap. And here's the craziest part. The biggest proponent of this whole follow your passion idea, Steve Jobs, is actually the best argument against it. So let's forget what he said for a minute and look at what he actually did. If you look at the young Steve Jobs, before Apple was even a thought, he was kind of a drifter. He was passionate about stuff like Eastern mysticism and dance, definitely not technology. The only reason he got a job at Atari was to make some quick cash. And Apple, the company that changed the world, it started as a little scheme with his buddy Wozniak to make a fast $1,000. That's it. It wasn't some grand passion project. And look, this isn't just about stories. The science actually supports this idea. There was this one study of university students. A huge majority had a passion. But guess how many of those passions were actually related to work or school? Less than 4%. We're talking about passions for things like hockey and dance. And get this, other studies show that the people who love their jobs the most aren't the ones who followed some pre-existing passion. Nope, they're the people who stuck with something long enough to get really, really good at it. So passion isn't the cause of great work, it's a side effect of it. Okay, so if follow your passion is bad advice, then what's the alternative? What are we supposed to do? Well, the book lays out a totally different way of thinking about work. And this new philosophy comes from a pretty unexpected place. The comedian Steve Martin. You know, people would always ask him for career advice, and they'd expect him to say something like, go get a great agent. But he never did. He'd always say, be so good they can't ignore you. Just focus on your craft. Get undeniably good. And that simple, powerful idea, that's the core of what the book calls the craftsman mindset. So what's the difference? It all comes down to where you put your focus. The passion mindset is all about you. It's asking, what can the world offer me? Does this job make me happy? And that, honestly, is a recipe for being miserable and confused all the time. But the craftsman mindset, it just flips that script completely. It asks, what can I offer the world? What value can I create? The focus shifts from what you get to what you give. And it's this craftsman mindset, this focus on what you can offer, that lets you build the real currency of a great career. The book has a great name for it, career capital. So let me ask you, what makes a great job great? Really think about it. If you could design your perfect job, what would it look like? Chances are it has some combination of these things, right? Creativity, where you get to solve cool problems. Impact, where you feel like you're making a real difference. And control, autonomy over your time and your projects. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Because everybody wants those things, they're incredibly rare and valuable. And this is where a little bit of basic economics comes in. You can't get something valuable unless you have something valuable to offer in return. It's a trade. So if you want those rare and valuable job traits, you need to have rare and valuable skills to trade for them. and that is your career capital. The craftsman mindset is the engine for building that capital.
Let's make this super concrete. We're going to look at two real-world examples, a tale of two careers. Both were marketing executives, and both were feeling pretty unfulfilled with their work.
Okay, on one side, you've got Lisa. She took the passion mindset route. She abruptly quit her marketing job, basically throwing away all the career capital she built to start a yoga studio, even though she had very little training. And the result was, well, it was a disaster. Her business struggled, and she ended up needing food stamps. Now look at Joe. He took the craftsman approach. He stayed in his field, he doubled down and built up a ton of career capital by becoming an absolute master at logo design. And once he had those rare and valuable skills, he cashed them in. He started his own firm and got all the control and creativity he wanted. Total game changer.
All right, this all sounds great, but how do you actually do it? How do you build that career capital and become a craftsman? Well, it's not just about working hard. It's about a very specific kind of effort.
You've probably heard of the 10,000-hour rule, right? Well, it's not just about the hours, it's about what you do with those hours. The real secret is something called deliberate practice. And what that means is you have to systematically push yourself just past your comfort zone into that sweet spot where you're struggling a little bit. And at the same time, you have to be getting constant, immediate feedback so you know how to improve. Think about the difference between just working and really practicing. When you're just working, you're doing stuff you're already comfortable with. You're coasting. And that's why most people hit a plateau in their skills. But deliberate practice, that's the opposite. It's intentionally taking on the project that's just a little bit out of your reach. It's seeking out the tough feedback, even when it stings, and constantly asking, okay, how can I get better? And again, this isn't just a nice idea. There was this amazing study on chess players. They found that both pretty good players and world-class grandmasters put in about the same number of hours. But here's the kicker. The grandmasters spent 5 times more of that time in serious, deliberate practice, poring over old games, analyzing their mistakes, and pushing themselves to improve. That's the difference. So let's wrap it all up with a new question to ask yourself. Instead of obsessing over what is my true passion, which can send you on a wild goose chase for some perfect job that might not even exist, what happens if you ask, how can I get so good they can't ignore me? See, that question changes everything. It gives you a clear path forward. You focus on building your skills, on creating real value. And if you do that, something amazing happens. You build a career that's so rare and valuable that passion has no choice but to find you. You don't follow your passion. You let it follow you.